I hope you brick, whale.
What's up YouTube, this is tcgsam here, and in today's video I got a feature match from the last locals that I played where I'm going to be playing Super Heavy Samurai against Kashtira. So this is a matchup between like the old and the new decks from before and after Syac. So we're going to see how both of them are able to perform. Note that this was before any potential ban list, so do keep that in mind when watching the video. But with that being said, we're going to get straight into the duel where we shuffle up and do the die roll. I end up winning the die roll, so I'm able to go first, thankfully. And of course, going first is a huge advantage with this deck, especially if your opponent doesn't open any hand traps. So we're going to kick things off with the Super Heavy Samurai Motorbike to discard itself and add a Super Heavy Samurai monster from my deck to my hand. And with that, I'm going to use it to add a copy of Wakaushi. I'm going to activate the Wakaushi next. And then summon itself, scaling the Big Benkei, activating the Big Benkei effect to add a Super Heavy Samurai Soul monster from my deck to my hand, which is going to be the Soul Piercer. I'm then going to choose to normal summon the Soul Piercer and link that into a copy of Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. That's going to trigger the Soul Piercer effect to add any Super Heavy Samurai monster from my deck to my hand, and that's going to be a copy. So now from here, I'm going to try to set up a negate before I end up going for my Soul Peacemaker play. So I'm going to discard Gamma, summon back the Soul Piercer from the graveyard, and then make a copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, scaling the Wakaushi and summoning back the bike from my graveyard. From there, I'm going to Synchro Summon into a Burrow on the floor, equip the Soul Peacemaker, that's going to tribute itself and the Scarecrow. That's going to trigger Scales from the deck. Scales is going to summon Soul Piercer, and then Ballista is going to end up adding a copy of Ancient Gearbox from my deck to my hand. I describe in my deck profile why I actually choose to play this over Gear Giant, so if you haven't checked that out, be sure to do so. It's already up on my channel. But yeah, I do end up going for Ballista over Gear Giant X. You can still do the combo either way, but I like this Ballista a little better. But anyways, I'm going to special summon this Stealthy from my hand and link for a Cleave Genius. Then I'm going to choose to just Pendulum Summon straight away from my hand to trigger the Cleave Genius's effect. I think I decide to end up going for as big of a board as possible with like Borreload Savage in addition to everything. So I end up adding the Therion King Regulus, switching Wagon to attack mode, and then adding a copy of Soul Piercer as follow-up for the next turn. And then from here, I choose to link away my Genius and then the Ancient Gearbox and Tunneler for an Appaloosa. Then I use Bike to pump its level up by 2, and then I'm going to Synchro Summon using the level 4 Bike as well as the Wagon for a copy of Borreload Savage Dragon. Here I was debating whether I should go for Sarutobi just in case I was against like a back row deck because I didn't know what he was playing at the time. But I still think at the end, Borreload is just better because it's just a more flexible Omni Negate. I end up equipping the Ballista, the reason being I want to shuffle Genius back into my deck. I do equip the Soul Piercer to the Therion King Regulus after summoning it out, and then popping it with Baron to get an extra search, just thinning out my deck so I'm able to give myself the highest chance of having additional disruptions in addition to what I have on the board. So I just choose to shuffle 3 back into my main deck and 2 into my extra deck, and I believe, if I remember correctly, we end up drawing 2 copies of Effect Veiler, which is really good because in our hand we didn't have any other hand traps at the time, so this was a really good backup plan. So we just pass things over to our opponent, and he's going to try to actually play through the board. I think it was his first time playing against the Super Heavy Samurai deck, so he just wanted to have a go at trying to break through it. And when he starts off with Unicorn, I recognize that pretty much the only way he's going to be breaking my board is if he somehow gets to like a double Zeus and I don't have a way to stop it. So I just want to try to prevent him from summoning Zeus as soon as possible. He's going to use the Theosis targeting the Unicorn, and I'm thinking about whether I should negate this or not, but I figured that I should because if he brings out a Fenrir, that's going to end up baiting some more interruption from my side of the field, and it's going to give him an extra body for that rank 7 play, which I don't want. Opponent's going to use Talents next to attempt to take. Of course, we're going to have to negate that with the Savage Dragon. And then our opponent's going to activate the Pressured Planet Wraithsoth. I decided to let it go. No reason for me to really stop that. Although you can argue that like it makes it so now he actually has to have like Birth plus like another monster in hand if I do negate it, but I just didn't want to risk that. So I let him add the Scareclaw Kashtira, and I figured at this point I was kind of safe because I could just negate the Scareclaw Kashtira effect to summon. But when he activates Birth, I think about negating it or not, but I didn't want to get punished by a second copy of Birth, so I decide it doesn't really matter if I don't negate this and he summons out a Scareclaw, because no matter what, he's not going to be able to use the XYZ monster he summons. He's not going to use this effect because Baron's just going to destroy it. So the best he can do is overlay the 2 for an XZs, and then swing over Appaloosa and try to go double Zeus, but I have Baron and double Veiler in order to stop that, so I'm not too worried about what he has set up here. So I decided to just let everything go. That's why I'm not using the Baron. I'm also saving the Baron just in case like the last card in his hand is somehow something that threatens me, because I know that the double Veiler is going to protect me from the potential Zeus wiping my board. So he's going to think about what he wants to do at this point. I know he still hasn't used the Unicorn effect, although even if he did, I definitely wouldn't negate it. There's no reason for me to, because he already used Theosis this turn, and he already has Birth based upon the field, so it doesn't do anything. He just chooses to go Battle Phase and attack over Appaloosa, and that's totally fine with me, because now I know I'm not getting Zeus this turn, and that's sort of the only thing I was scared of with this board. He ends up activating the Rise Heart from his hand to attempt to special summon itself. I decided to let that go. There's no reason for me to negate it. Our opponent's then going to overlay the Unicorn and the Scareclaw Kashtira for a copy of Shangri-Ira, activate the effect of Rise Heart. I decide to Veiler it just so it doesn't become level 7 and I don't banish something face down, meaning that he's not going to get Shangri-Ira and thus the Field Spell effect. And even though he gets the Big Bang, I wasn't really paying attention. I definitely should have just negated the Big Bang because I know like everything he has access to at that point, but either way, it's not really going to matter just because we still have a Veiler and a Baron in our hand, and if our opponent is not able to clear our board, we just have so much to actually be able to stop him during the next turn. So he's going to just summon the Kashtira Unicorn back, and since Rise Heart's level 4, he can't XC summon it with it since we negated it with the Veiler, so he's just going to pass things over to us. In semi-phase, decides not to use the Shangri-Ira effect. I don't recall why he said he didn't use it, but I think it was to play around some interruptions that I had. Regardless, I just go Kaiju over his Shangri-Ira, Baron pop his Unicorn, and then from here, I just try to continue to just set up game, and our opponent recognizes that and scoops it up. So we do take down game 1. Moving now on to game 2, our opponent's going to start things off with a Terraforming. Terraforming is going to let him add the Pressure Planet Wraith South from his deck to his hand. He's going to activate it, and the reason I choose to Ash Blossom this is there's a live tell I had on him at the time. Like he was, I think he said like he really needed the monster to go through, and he seemed pretty genuine, so I trusted him. But also not only that, I figured he would choose to play around Droll and Lockbird if he really did have a Kashtira monster in hand. He would have just done that first. So I'm going to scale the Wakaushi, it's going to get popped by MST. I'm going to normal the Wagon, that's going to get ashed. But thankfully, we do have the Soul Peacemaker, which comes in clutch. If you haven't seen the deck profile, I do end up playing 3 Soul Peacemaker for this tournament. And it's for situations like this where it's in a simplified game state where you're getting hand trapped all the time. Soul Peacemaker is just one of the best cards in your deck. It gets these like dead scarecrows off the field and also just gets your engine started by just tributing any of your like used up super heavies. So I'm going to end up adding Bike from my deck to my hand and then discarding the Bike to search any super heavy samurai. And I'm thinking really hard about what I want to do at this point. I think the best I can do in this situation is actually just set up a double Zeus play, because I figured it'll stop any top deck that he realistically has. Because if, for example, if he had like a way to actually deal with Zeus, like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, I assume he would have set that. So there's no reason for me to actually fear that. So I'm just going to discard the scales off of this effect of the super heavy samurai Scarecrow, and then Scales is going to bring back Wagon. I'm going to overlay the 2 for Gigantic Champion Sargus, use that to search Ethereon King Regulus, and then from here I just end up special summoning the Regulus. Regulus is going to special summon itself and equip the Soul Piercer directly from our graveyard, and then after we attack, we're going to be able to make a 4 material Zeus, and I figured that should just be enough to stop him from whatever he could possibly top deck, especially since he hasn't played with the 2 cards that he had in his hand. So from there, we just summon Zeus, and our opponent concedes. So we do take that game down 2-0, and if you haven't checked out the deck profile, once again, please be sure to do so. And just a quick thing before we end off the video, I'm going to ask that you please be sure to check out your playmat as well as CardTrader Zero for the best prices on custom playmats, sleeves for your playmat, and being able to get the cheapest shipping for CardTrader Zero. If you guys sign up with my affiliate links, you'll be helping to support the channel for the purchases that you'll already be making, so I really appreciate that. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.